If you want a three-row electric SUV, it doesn't get much better than the Cadillac Escalade IQ. It is the highest range luxury SUV, electric or not, with 460 miles, 700 horsepower. But this isn't even the IQ. This is the IQL. It's the stretched out sibling of the IQ, and they've done something unexpected here. I'm completely geeking out over it. So I've already made a video with the IQ, and today we're going to get a chance to drive it. But we're also taking a look at that IQL over there. But PJ, what were some of your favorite features?
Inside this lower grille light here, there's actually an infrared sensor that's able to detect the thermal signature of animals, of people 330 feet away. That's beyond the scope of the headlamp. It projects that onto the instrument cluster. It's called a night vision, so then you're able to essentially drive into the night, be a little more confident about what's ahead of you. I also love that the Escalade IQ actually has a front trunk. Did you know that this is the only EV in Cadillac's lineup to give you a front trunk? It's 12.2 cubic feet. It's longer and larger than Hummer EV's 11 cubic feet, twice the size of the Tesla Model X front trunk. It's actually larger than the Lucid Gravity's 8 cubic feet when it comes to its front trunk. So nice sizable space up front too.
Here's where the IQL gets interesting though. It's 230 inches long. That's 4 inches longer than the standard IQ, but they didn't even touch the wheelbase. Both models share the same 136-inch wheelbase, which is wild because typically when a brand goes for a longer version, they extend the wheelbase to give the second row passengers more legroom. That's the classic long wheelbase playbook, but Cadillac flipped it entirely. Instead, they tacked all 4 inches into the rear of the vehicle. Pure genius. What does that mean though? Extra headroom, more legroom. It's practically a first-class experience back here. Plus the cargo area gets a serious boost. The width stays at 94 inches, but you get 2 inches more in headroom, 4 inches in legroom, and you get this clever extension. It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 230-inch, almost 230 inches long. A good foot or so longer than the Hummer EV to give you a sense of scale of what a large vehicle we're talking about. But the turning radius is about 39 feet, which is about a foot more than the Bolt EV. Four-wheel steering in this vehicle is everything. As it is, you know, with most large vehicles, it's almost, once you experience it, you get spoiled. And then if you don't have it, it just doesn't live up to your expectations anymore. Now, the Escalade IQL does have a resemblance to its gas-powered version, the Escalade ESV, but it is kind of like a bridge between Escalade's EV Future, the IQ over there, and this extended version, the IQL.
All right, let's do this.
Auto close. Auto soft close too.
I know, I love those soft close. So last time that we did our review of the IQ, while we were in there filming, when a big music producer in Atlanta showed up, unannounced, was not like part of the video, but he ended up being in our video. His name is Zaytoven.
Yeah, one of the first ever of these cars delivered, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember he said that the reason that he bought it was partly because of the sound system inside of it.
Yeah, so with the IQ and the IQL as well, you're starting with 21 speakers, AKG speakers, but that's really the hardware. You go to the higher trim levels, it actually doubles that, up to 42 speakers. But the software element of it is the Dolby Atmos, and this one really takes that immersive experience. So what the producer was telling us and what we've been able to experience with this is among really the most impressive audio or acoustics that you'll ever hear inside any vehicle. Dolby Atmos is an object-based sound system. It's not necessarily about how many speakers you have, but it's about the fidelity and the separation of sound, where you're experiencing the sound, not just hearing it.
Now, one of the things that they've done when you go to configure this vehicle is that it's standard to have a dual motor and all-wheel drive. Both the IQ and the IQL run on Cadillac's Ultium platform with a massive battery pack. The IQ has a 200 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack, which is already one of the biggest in the game. The IQL steps it up slightly with a 205 kilowatt-hour pack. Why the bump? Well, the IQL's longer, so it's likely there to offset the extra weight and keep the range competitive.
All right, take a look at where the charge port is because it's in the exact spot you want it to be. Rear, driver's side. And when you look at this region here, it is unfortunately not NACS. It still has J1772 up top, DC fast charging. You've got yourself CCS down below. But what you get with this is actually access to the Tesla Supercharger network as of last September. So with an adapter, $225 from GM, that gets you access to 17,000 supercharging stations. And the magic is in the 350 kilowatt potential of charging rate with this vehicle. 800 volt architecture, so you're able to tap into that, get as much as 100 miles of range in just 10 minutes. Go up to the IQL, it's actually 116 miles of range in 10 minutes. So as impressive as it gets, for a vehicle that, again, can go up to 460 miles on a single charge.
And they both support bi-directional charging, meaning you could even power your house or another EV in a pinch with the right setup.
In the world of EVs, we always say range is king, and the Escalade IQ is just that. With 460 miles of range, that's the IQL, it's on the top end of that list. So whether it's electric or not, when it comes to luxury SUVs, that is the highest range you're going to find. In fact, the Lucid Gravity is 450 miles of range. The Model X, for example, 350 miles of range, and then come down all the way to just the Escalade V, the gas-powered version, that's 312 miles of range. So this really takes the cake when you want extreme range and extreme performance in a luxury SUV. So there's a V here on the left side of my steering wheel. If I turn it on, the V turns on my instrument cluster. That tells me the velocity max is engaged. That takes my 0 to 60 down to just under 5 seconds. That takes my horsepower, that's standard around 700, takes that up to 750. So you're getting maximum performance. Now, for me, coming in from other performance EVs, it's impressive, definitely, and this is one of the largest.
It's impressive knowing that this vehicle is 9,000 pounds.
Exactly, and 9,600 pounds, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, it is. It's not the quickest, but it's not trying to be the quickest. I think the more important metric is that range, and it's there. But for most people, especially from coming from the gas Escalade, you're going to feel a significant performance boost going into velocity max in this vehicle.
I agree. Both the IQ and IQL are loaded with goodies, and they share a lot of the same DNA here. There's a massive 55-inch diagonal LED display stretching pillar to pillar across the dashboard. It's like having a movie theater screen in your SUV, except it's running Google built-in software with navigation, apps, and voice controls. But you don't get Apple CarPlay here since GM's gone all in with its own ecosystem. So check out this unique safety feature. So we have this massive 55-inch screen, and the passenger actually has their own infotainment screen right here where they can watch movies, watch YouTube. But when I'm in park, look what happens. I can also watch a movie with my passenger. But as soon as I put the vehicle into drive, guess what? That screen goes black. Can you see it?
Yeah, it looks the same. This is a digital privacy screen they've implemented in. So for someone sitting directly facing the screen, it looks just fine. If you come off to the side, or if you're from this side, it is completely black. Really cool.
Now, I've already showed you guys a lot of the bells and whistles in my previous IQ video, but this one is a higher trim, so we have access to a few more features in here. One is these doors. So check this out. We have controls of all 4 doors. I can swipe it to open up the door, and I can also close it just by putting my foot on the brake. And what's really cool about these doors is that there's radar inside of the door handle. So when you go to open it, it will sense obstacles around it. It won't hit anything. There's also some cool features in here. One of my favorite is the massage seats. Let's go ahead and get that going. Check it out. All right, now it's time to start the drive or take a nap. This is a silly complaint, but the seats are really wide, which is nice. They're very comfortable seats. But there's only about an inch gap between your seat and the door. So if you have something in your door pocket, right now I have my water bottle and I can't get it out without actually opening up my door.
It is interesting. It is a big door pocket, but yeah, like you said, the design there is almost like if you've already put it in before you've gotten into the car,
That's
so you won't get it out.
All right, are you nervous?
A little bit maybe. See, I like the seats vibrating in the actual spots. A bicycle was right behind me, a rider going behind me, and that quadrant of my seat actually started vibrating.
Also the cameras, it's really nice to be able to see that 360 view in the camera so you can see everything around you. One of the questions we get all the time is what does a road trip look like inside different vehicles? So we have Google built in here. So all I have to say, again, we're in San Francisco right now, is hey Google, take me to Los Angeles.
Sure, Los Angeles. Let's go.
So it automatically maps it. It even gives you a charging spot right here in Kettleman City. There's an Electrify America there. But let's just say you didn't want to stop at that Electrify America. You said, I have a little more range. I want to adjust the route a little bit. You can go inside here and you can actually replace it. And then you can take it a step further. You can filter it by chargers and you can filter it by the speeds. Obviously you'd want the fastest one, and then you can go in here, it will show you what's around you. You can adjust where you're going to charge it, Look at that, it even shows you this one's out of service. So that's an example, a real world example of how you would do a road trip in this vehicle.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of how it feels, how it handles, even at higher speeds, how quiet the cabin is. So, you know, we talk about how the Dolby Atmos has some of the best sound in this vehicle. Well, they've still done a pretty good job knowing that this is an EV.
So when I was driving a moment ago, I was surprised because I didn't feel very much body roll at all. And a lot of times when you're in a big, heavy SUV like this, you can feel that and your head kind of moves, but I didn't feel that in this.
Yeah, I mean, you really get spoiled with four-wheel steering with this vehicle. It feels very nimble. I wouldn't say necessarily sports car-like, but absolutely doesn't feel like a massive three-row SUV. And they've done something interesting here. It's got air suspension as you'd expect with a vehicle of this caliber, but they've also incorporated something they call the magnetic ride control, and I think it's like 4.0 or something. But basically, the shock absorbers have liquid that's infused with little magnet particles, and that's able to dynamically adjust. Supposedly, it's the most advanced technology they've ever put in any Cadillac vehicle in history. So when it comes to the suspension element, so it takes what is basically almost 10,000 pounds in an SUV here with over 700 horsepower and makes it feel more like a sports car and less like a lumbering SUV.
Now, you just came to a complete stop. How did you feel about the regen? Now you can adjust it. There's a paddle on the back of the wheel.
Well, I'm getting used to the regen. I definitely kind of went in a little bit abruptly, and I felt my seat vibrate on the front end of it, telling me I'm coming close to an obstacle. And I do like having these little, you know, sensory elements built into the seats. You get that with a lot of the Ultium, the higher end Ultium vehicles, and this definitely is in line with that as well, where you're able to feel vibrations on the left quadrant, on the right quadrant. And yeah, I definitely enjoy it. And I think they do have one pedal driving elements as well, with the shifters up here that you're able to incorporate.
You have the options. They give you all the options. So if you are someone that does like a strong regen, you're able to make it very strong in here, which I enjoy.
But I mean, let's talk about Super Cruise. So okay, I'm hanging out over here. You know, you touched on Super Cruise a little bit. I really want to make sure it doesn't go unnoticed of how well it performs for the vast majority of use cases. Again, we touched on other self-assist, self-driving features that have more capabilities over the broad scope of things.
Yeah. But
for the vast majority of people, this works really efficiently, really well. Like it says construction zone detected, so I'm not sure how that's going to respond, but when it comes to some of those nuances, but the vast majority of the scenarios, as long as you're paying attention, it does an incredibly good job. Yeah. But if you're wanting to get off the interstate, go in a back road, of course that's on you.
I do really like the green stripe on your steering wheel because it makes it very obvious when it's engaged. I have noticed when I've driven more of these vehicles in Super Cruise, there are times though where it comes out of it kind of unannounced. You're like, wait, right? But having that little green strip lets you know. I do want to talk to you a little bit about price because luxury does not come cheap. This car actually starts, just the starting price is $130,000, which is pretty steep for most people. Now it's a 3-row electric SUV. So, I mean, a few years ago, I remember the Model X was right in that same
That's true.
price.
The performance Model X we had a couple of years back was $150,000.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you kind of have to compare it to other electric vehicles. I believe you said earlier that it's double the price almost of what the gas-powered Escalade is.
Exactly. The ESV, the Cadillac Escalade, is about $83,000, I believe, the starting price. So yeah, you're up significantly higher than that. Obviously, at the high end, you're double the price.
Right.
But $130,000 starting price versus $83,000 starting price shows you, the ballpark we're playing at. And Cadillac, historically, of course, higher end vehicle. Escalade, historically, the top of the top there, and then the IQ kind of takes it to another level. But they've packed it in with all the tech, all the features. And it's got, the air suspension that goes with this whole magnetic ride, which is their most advanced suspension. So you put all that together, if you can swing it, it justifies that price point.
For sure. I mean, like we said, you're getting the rear wheel drive, you're getting the all-wheel drive, all that within that base price. Our review that we did before was the base vehicle, so you can really see how luxurious it is at that starting point. Now, if you go up, it goes up to $160,000.
Just about, range.
Just shy. And there's different variants and different trim levels within that. Now back here on the back of our headrest, we do have screens for the second row passengers. It's very nice, very premium. The seats are incredibly comfortable. You get all these, I mean, it feels like a luxury vehicle when you're in here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do have all the tech too. So it's really nice, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does make me second guess the vehicle that I own right now. It's a little bit too expensive for me.
At 130, absolutely. You know, that's if this was closer to 100,000, so we're saying 20,000 above the normal Escalade.
Yeah.
For me personally, that's where I'd want to be, to really splurging on a really well done electric SUV.
I would do it though. Honestly, I've had conversations with him about should we consider something else other than our Model X. Now the Model X is my daily driver, but we have 3 kids, we have a dog now. Like, could this be our next vehicle? Absolutely. If I could afford it, I would probably buy it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the range. It would be so nice for road trips. There's so much space in here.
I know you love the front trunk more than anything, because 12 cubic feet of front trunk there, you know, it's sizable, and that's important for us because we have strollers that go in there.
This would be such a great family vehicle. I am telling this to myself and also to him because I would love to maybe get this next.
I want to check out the Lucid Gravity as well, kind of in that high tier of luxury electric SUVs, because the range is in line with that one, and as we said, range is king. This one is at the top of that with 460 or so miles. I love that. I love that how fast it can charge too.
But it does make you realize it has a lot of the features that I wish my Model X had, like the massaging seats. I love this open style console where I can fit my bag underneath it, my purse right there. I mean, so many little things. The doors are really cool. Now, the Model X is nice because the wings go up and we have a tight garage. One of our conversations was, would this fit in our garage?
That's what we're talking off camera. Big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the back end, because it is so long, I believe the Model X is around 200 inches in length. This is 226 or 7 inches in length. So we're adding 2 more feet on the back end. In our personal garage, which is not the smallest garage, it's not it's not huge, but it's also not as small as some we've seen. The back end of this would probably be touching the garage door. You're getting very close to it. So it's one of those vehicles that you've got to have a big lifestyle to maybe be able to accommodate it. But you're like, we can get it, we can put it outside.
Yeah, I said, let's stick this one outside.
You can't put this car outside.
He's like, at this price point, you want to garage this. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Looking to maybe like try out something new, would Cadillac be an option for you? Is this something that you would consider if you have kids, you have family?
And then of course there's the IQL, which is about 4 inches longer, gives you that longer wheelbase and a little bit more room for the passenger. I think it's really an extension for the third row, right? Because the headroom is increased a couple inches, the legroom is increased a couple inches, and that's the ultimate high-end family vehicle.
Yes.
Actually has a little bit more range with a slightly bigger battery pack.
I feel like that would be like the ultimate, you have a driver status symbol vehicle. Like, you don't actually drive, someone else is driving for you. I don't think that one will fit in our garage.
That one definitely
either way.
Yeah.
But that one is amazing. And what did you say the price difference was?
It's about $3,000 to $5,000 more for each of those different trim levels. So $133,000 starting price versus $130,000, and all the way up into the $158,000 to $160,000 range, I think, on the top end.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I think the IQ might be my favorite 3-row electric SUV. I actually think it might be right now. Again, I still need to try the Gravity out, but I mean, you guys are going to hate me, but I really love it. I love the space. It's so comfortable.
Yeah, if you're spending $130,000 on an SUV like this, you probably have a boat. You probably have some weekend activities you want to take part in. Towing for this vehicle is 8,000 pounds for the IQ. It's actually 7,500 pounds for the IQL, a little bit longer vehicle. But again, very respectable level of towing. And speaking to some people, by the way, that have driven this vehicle, I want to go back to the range for a second. They're saying they've had periods where they've actually gotten 500 miles out of this, not the 450, 460 that's estimated. So that's the one thing I've appreciated, having the Lyriq tested before and seeing that exceed 30, 40 miles more range than it was estimated. Same thing with, I believe it was the Silverado EV that we tried out, which the range, once again, which was already impressive with this massive battery pack, it exceeded that.
Yeah.
This, once again, it looks like it's more on the higher end of what they're estimating versus the lower end, which is cool.
I mean, it's really the ultimate road trip car too, because you have that range, but then you also have that 800-volt architecture, super fast charging speeds.
Yeah.
So you're not sitting around waiting for your car to charge to this massive range to get it back in between your stops on your road trip. You go inside, you grab a snack, you go to the bathroom, and then your car's done and you have almost 500 miles again. All right, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this should be my next family car? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you have questions, put them in there as well. Thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to our channel. It goes a long way, helps support us, and we'll catch you next time.
I just noticed that we're both wearing our round sunglasses. I didn't realize you're copying me today.
It's the only ones I brought.
It's the only ones I brought.
You know, they say like couples kind of start to look like each other.
Like
so
pet owners look like their dogs, and
yeah.
We look like each other now.
Are we gonna start looking like Penny, or is Penny gonna start looking like us? Do I look like a golden doodle? A mini golden doodle?
You could on a bad hair day. I've already planned
Waymo. How many Waymos have we seen?
This is probably at least the 20th. I mean, it's well established in San Francisco.
Oh, but somebody's driving that one.
It's got a human inside.
There's a human.
Can you imagine a couple years back having someone react to seeing a car on the freeway and then being, somebody's driving that one?
Yeah.
It's like the opposite
It's the opposite reaction
you should have had.
Yeah.
I haven't really touched on how little there is in terms of physical buttons.
Yeah.
Everything is controlled by the screen. That's also a touch screen. I believe you said it's 55 inches across, and of course you can watch YouTube on that side. Actually, the car comes with headphones, I noticed in here, where when you try to click on YouTube, it asks you to connect to Bluetooth.
Yeah, you have the option.
Yep, you get 2 sets of Bluetooth AKG headphones. So I guess at $130,000, that is a gimme.
Yeah, you get a nice pair of headphones.
Yeah.